everyone, welcome back to Week Ahead Astrology Breakdown. I'm Matthew Oliver with Stillwater Alchemy, and I don't know if all of you are feeling this, but things are about to get juicy, exciting, all the fun adjectives. That's because all of these planets are not getting their act together, because they've always had their act together, but this forward momentum, it's like when you hit a really good productive streak and it just feels like everything is getting done, everything is easy. That's the momentum that we're working with here. And spoiler alert, especially come November, December, we have some of the best transits of the entire year, in my opinion. So we want to start working with this beautiful momentum now, so that all the things that you're intending, especially as we're coming off of this Virgo new moon, things getting clear, things getting specific, that we can build up to a beautiful finish, climax, however you want to phrase it, end of 2024. So let's just recap a few things from last week. Of course, we had that Virgo new moon. If you would like, the Virgo new moon workshop is free. The description link is in the bio. What I found personally is that I was very tired the day before and the day of the new moon. And I talked about how we had that opposition with Neptune, which can sometimes make us feel sleepy or dreamy, nostalgic, or just kind of all over the place, depending how it sits in your chart and how it affects you. I wanted to speak on some of the responses that I got when I asked the question on Stillwater's Instagram, how was this Virgo new moon manifesting for you? So we have clean up, clear out, and get finances in order. All of those hitting at the same time. Trust and ease, organizing my home, making time for myself unapologetically. Beautiful. I want to find a new career path. Career has been coming up a lot. I think especially with this Venus direct in Leo for the past couple of weeks, like really finding our identity, how we wish to shine. That's also been very, very strong. Major changes, more love. Old ways of doing things just don't feel right anymore. Very much, especially with this Mercury station as well. My intuition was spot on to rest during Cancer and Leo season. I'm feeling motivated again. Love that. There's also a couple messages talking about not really feeling anything or feeling like nothing is working. And that can also be a manifestation of that Neptune as well, feeling nebulous or feeling lost at sea. And we'll talk about it because we have another prominent Neptune aspect here. But I want to share one story of how I switched my energy around, because coming off of that new moon, I was like, whoa, at the end of last week. So I've talked about this before a couple of weeks ago when Mars was in Virgo opposing Neptune, and how I switched my energy through music. So for me, whenever I leave the house, I always have sunglasses on, AirPods in. It's like my own personal armor, because I want to be in my own bubble. I want to protect my auric field, and I walk a lot. And so humans can sometimes be precious, and they will say certain things that are not aligned with what I'm intending, what I want to keep my frequency at. So having AirPods in, whether I'm listening to music or podcasts, it's a way of protecting my ears, protecting my eyes, just like focusing on what I want to be in, look at, hear. And so on Friday, there was a song by Charlie XCX. It's just Focus. And one of the biggest lyrics is like, focus on my love. And I envision the universe speaking through Charlie, because we're all just manifestations of the universe anyway. And so it's like, focus on my love. And then I literally feel like the universe has my back. And I'm sharing this because we had a very strong Moon Neptune opposition with that Virgo new moon. So I'm like, let me play with a frequency where I feel supported, where I feel energized. And then literally I got an invoice for a 1-question reading from a beautiful Scorpio client that I love. And it was a gift for her sister. I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful that people are gifting these to people. And so it was like, I envisioned the universe having my back. And then there was this beautiful offering invoice. So I share that because we also have another Neptune opposing Sun transit in terms of vitality or dream. So at least for me, a really good way of using that Neptune transit is with music, to put myself in a frequency of how I wish to feel, and then literally allowing that body to have that sensation for a long period of time. I literally listened to that song nonstop for probably half an hour. as I was walking to an appointment. So take that if it resonates. It's going to be very powerful this week as well. And then speaking of the one question readings, I get a lot of beautiful responses or people emailing back just saying what resonates. And I had one client saying, I don't know if it's okay or it's appropriate for me to message back, but I just want to say blank. And I love connecting with all of my clients. So if you already purchased a one question reading and you have feedback to share or what resonated, I would love to hear that. I always recommend too that in any reading, no matter which healer you get, take time to integrate, take time to journal out to see what's coming up for you, especially if you're doing it around a prominent lunation. There's probably going to be a lot that comes up to the surface, and then you'll be clear and focused. Two last little announcements that I noticed with the astrology I thought were very fun. One being this whole South Node in Libra that we've had since mid-July, right? It's going to be a prominent theme. And Libra, of course, being the scales, justice. And so I found it interesting how a lot of celebrities are issuing like apology videos for things that the collective doesn't seem fair or doesn't seem just. Like there's that whole thing with Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. There's Drew Barrymore. There's all the stuff with Oprah. Like I like to keep my finger on the collective pulse. And when things go viral, I like to see how it translates with the astrology and what's happening. So I just found this all very interesting that people are wanting justice. People are wanting things to be fair. And when things aren't, or what they are perceived to not be, it's getting a lot of mass attention, right? And with that North Node in Aries, we want new avenues, we want new opportunities, we want new ways of doing things that are innovative, one of a kind. So I think that's going to be drastically highlighted once we get to Libra season, once we get to October with the eclipses. So stay tuned for that. And then like a fun manifestation was Ricky Martin had a video posted on Saturday. So it was when the moon was in Libra conjunct Mars. And he posted a very fun video of him sunbathing, sans clothing, conjunct the South Node. So like this video was released of him looking hot in an aesthetically pleasing way. And I was like, sometimes I just can't write this stuff up. And then my intention moving forward as an announcement is I was reevaluating things with this Virgo new moon, and I'm going to be releasing these week ahead recaps either on Saturday night or Sunday morning, Vancouver time, so Pacific Standard Time, so that no matter where you are in the world, it'll be available Monday morning. For most people, it'll be available Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, but I just feel like that'll be a more conducive way so that everyone has access to it on Monday. In my head originally, when I was doing these, I'm like, oh, I want to be able to still have collective insights that happen on the weekend. So when I film it Sunday night, I have all weekend, but I don't really think that's as much of a priority as making sure that everyone has access to this knowledge at the start of the week. So you can adjust your dials. If you still have your Monday ritual, the video will still be available on Monday. But if it benefits you to do your planning Sunday night, that will be the vibe that we're working with moving forward. Okay, boom. So let's dive into the week ahead, shall we? So Monday, Tuesday, there's a lot of dynamic shifts. It feels like there's a lot of opportunities that are going to be presented to us for many different reasons. First of all, I just want to talk about transits that are going to be lasting all week. Now, with Mercury having just stationed direct, this is a beautiful opportunity because now, remember, Mercury in Virgo has beautiful, powerful energy. It's in its exaltation and its domicile, which means that you can get a lot of stuff done, a lot of clarity, a lot of organization. So this is also another great opportunity to look at the houses in your chart ruled by Virgo and Taurus, because Mercury is going to be making that apply trine to Jupiter that gets closer and closer in degree throughout the week. It's going to go exact on the 25th, so at the start of next week. However, this can be beautiful in terms of mindset, in terms of opportunity, in terms of commerce, business, in terms of wealth, in terms of a lot of different things. And if Virgo or Taurus rule your 7th house or your 5th house, it'd be great for romance, relationships, love. So it's just a really beautiful transit that is very rare, given that Jupiter will only be in Taurus once every 12 years. So to get this transit, we want to take full advantage of its beauty. And on the most kind of simple, basic manifestation, really great for organization, productivity and just getting emails out, or if you're wanting to do a creative project that involves writing or correspondence or getting everything in line, this is the week to do it. So dot those I's, cross those T's. It's almost like one of those energies where you can get more done in a day than you could in a week. It just, everything will flow very easily, or a very clear mental focus. So that is going to be a constant throughout this entire week, with the exact trine happening next Monday. Okay, so keep that in your back pocket. Another aspect that's happening at the start of this week, we have this very loose, grand Earth trine between the Sun, Uranus, and Pluto. So there could be, and this is what I was speaking to before, that I've been seeing with clients in terms of career, but also how you wish to shine. There's going to be new ways of acquiring power, or new ways that you want to be seen, or ways you want to innovatively step away or break away from the crowd. So this can go both ways. This could be that you want to reinvent yourself, or it could be where you want to recede and be more of a recluse and hermit, so that you have time to just decompress what's been going on, depending on where you're at in your journey. But this energy here is very supportive. Even given that's happening all in earth signs, we can look at earth type of energy. So we're talking about health, finances, home, material goods, right? So if these are things that you're wanting to reevaluate, especially health and finances, those could be really big things that you want to get a better grasp on, so that you can shine more brightly or more powerfully in your relationships, in your family, in your community. Just knowing that there could be nice, clear downloads or solutions, or even people, right? Because the sun can speak to solar or powerful individuals, especially with this Sun-Pluto trine. So this is an opportunity too, that in addition to the Virgo and Taurus ruled parts of your chart, do not sleep on the Capricorn part of your chart, because that's going to amplify the power or the opportunity for power that is coming up. And remember, Pluto is closing out a 15-year cycle, because Pluto first entered Capricorn in 2008. So this could also be a power or an identity or a structure that you've been wanting for 15 years. So given that this Virgo new moon had that connection to Neptune in our dreams and what we're working towards, this could also be something that's very clear, that you're culminating a dream, culminating an identity. And a lot of that is starting to fall into place, maybe not even in the physical realm, but in your mindset and what you are moving forward with throughout this week. Now, Monday specifically, the moon is in Scorpio. So we have that moon Venus square. We have the moon making an opposition to Jupiter. We have a moon making a trine to Saturn. And the moon is also making that sextile to Mercury. I feel like there could be potential for a lot of choices, a lot of distractions. So if you want to focus on certain things, this could be a time where you just make a to-do list first thing in the morning. It's like, I need to get these emails done. I need to get this accounting done. I need to make sure that these are all in line. And then I can go and have fun and do all the things, because Venus is also making this, it's still a pretty exact square to Jupiter, even though Venus is separating. And then the moon is caught up in the fun as well. So there's a lot of opportunity for pleasure, indulgences. So we just want to ensure that we take full advantage of the trine to Saturn and the sextile to Mercury to be productive and then enjoy. But don't get distracted. Be intentional with your time, with your emotions, and then you can indulge in the, I was going to use a certain adjective. You can indulge in the things that you want to indulge in once you got all the things crossed off the list. Even if the thing's just one thing, there's likely to be something that you know that you just want to give your attention to on Monday. Give your attention to that, and then you can move on and have some fun. Now, Tuesday, we have that direct opposition with Uranus. So Uranus isn't good, it isn't bad, it's just kind of a energy that can manifest different ways. Given that the moon in Scorpio generally gives a lot of passionate, deep, intense feelings and emotions, we don't want to bury that. We don't want to be passive with it. If there's something that you want to really express, especially now with the moon making that separating square to Venus. This could also be like a lover, something that you had loved, a relationship that needs to shift or needs to change, or that you need to change internally. So sometimes too, if there's like a judgment or frustration towards an individual or an entity, you shifting your energy towards that is going to give a better, more pleasurable feeling. Also, too, now that the moon is in those later degrees of Scorpio, she's making that sextile to the sun and Pluto. So giving away your love, your time, your energy to things that are not going to make you shine or things that are going to make you powerful is a waste of energy and is a waste of time, essentially, right? And I think that's what's probably going to be shown to you on Monday. It could also be certain things that you used to indulge in or used to bring you pleasure, if we're talking about Monday's transits, no longer serve you. And that could be something that you've been learning with this Venus moving through her post-retrograde shadows, is you don't want to give your energy, time, and your love to these people or to these things anymore. It can even be like certain TV shows, certain habits you have, like maybe after work, you go to happy hour and you're like, actually, I don't want to do that anymore. That doesn't feel conducive. I'd rather go for a walk. I'd rather go to the gym. I'd rather maybe get a pet and go for a walk in the dog park. Whatever that is, there might be something that's very clear and indicative of what now brings you pleasure and how you can shift your emotions. Because given that Scorpio is a fixed sign, we don't want to engage in the same thought pattern or the same routine over and over and over again if there's other options or other ideas that are coming through. And that is something I believe is likely to have come through with this Virgo new moon, is a way of adapting or a way of pivoting or a way of shifting things that are going to make your life easier, more enjoyable, or even if it's not more enjoyable in this moment, you're making the change to have beautiful returns and expansion later on, okay? We also cannot forget that the moon is making this lovely trine to Neptune. So Monday and Tuesday are just great intuitive days as well. Great days for creativity, great days for love, romance. So use these wisely. Wednesday, moon in Sagittarius. So on Wednesday, this is also a time too, I'd recommend don't waste time on social media per se. We have the moon making a square to Saturn. We also have the moon making a square to Mercury. So we don't need to diffuse our focus and our energy. And you also might be feeling really excited, given a lot has happened on Monday or Tuesday, but just focus, ground in. This moon Saturn energy is interesting too, because I always feel when the moon is in Sagittarius, it's this fun, jovial, adventurous energy, but then making that square to Saturn, it's almost like we can't run away from certain things that are on our heart or certain emotions. So if we're just trying to escape and run away instead of dealing with things that need our immediate time, care, and focus, these are things that need to be accounted for. This could also be something like you need to clean your house. And you're like, no, I'd rather just go hang out at the beach or go hang out with friends. Like, no, you need to clean your house. Do that today so that you can remain more focused and diligent throughout the rest of the week. As a small example, we do have Wednesday, Thursday, the moon will be making that sextile to Mars and a trine to Venus. So there are, again, I think there's going to be, like I said, at the very start of this video, lots of opportunities for distractions or take your attention away. Sometimes they're good distractions. Sometimes it's a good motivating factor for something that you want to engage in, to be smart with your time. I would also encourage you, just so you can see where this energy is coming through on Wednesday, of where maybe you're not going to run away or be avoidant of your emotions or your time. Look to the houses in your chart ruled by Sagittarius and Pisces, specifically on Wednesday. So you know where maybe you just want to put a bit more restraint or focus or discipline to, in the long game, make you happier, or that you have more resources to explore and be adventurous. These are just little things, especially now I'm looking at this from a sense of the moon is gaining light. The moon is gaining energy. So as it does so, as it's making its way to the first quarter moon and then the full moon, we want to ensure that we're using this energy, that as we're gaining energy, what needs to occur so that we can continually shine bright, continually have our cup overflowing, kind of thing, right? And that goes to Thursday, which is great because then we have this exact trine to Venus. And Venus is now really gaining momentum. For the past couple of weeks, she's barely been moving post-retrograde. But now this is a great opportunity for joy, expansion. This also seems like you able to harvesting the fruits of your labor. So that is something that you can really take advantage of to focus on. And thinking back to this as well, hello, Mercury post retrograde shadows. We talked about this Sun-Neptune opposition loosely when I gave my example of listening to music, but this also speaks to Tuesday when the moon is making that trine to Neptune and the sun is opposing Neptune, to just be aware of your external surroundings. This is going to be on Tuesday, that exact opposition between the sun and Neptune. And that plays beautifully into Wednesday, where you might need to place a boundary because you're like, oh, actually, this is a dream that I really want so badly. I'm not going to jeopardize this dream, this vision for superfluous things in my life. So that Thursday, we can have a pleasurable result. And really, this Sun-Neptune energy is almost the entire week until we get to Libra season. So just being very mindful, you might have already been feeling it with that Virgo new moon, that with regards to the sun, it can speak to themes of vitality, energy, how you shine, your ego. And with Neptune, it can be dreams, fantasies, illusions, spirituality, creativity. So just being aware that this opposition is basically happening between Monday to Friday, with its most intense exact aspect happening on the 19th. So that when we get to Thursday, there's likely to be a very positive resolve, or something that's going to feel pleasurable, or something that's going to feel right. It's like, I like to use shopping as examples. When you put on like the perfect outfit, you don't even need to look in the mirror. It just feels right. It feels good. There's a great connection between what you're wearing and your body and how it makes you feel. With this moon Venus, it's a very fertile aspect, a great energy to connect with. And if you want to go even more specific, you can look to the houses in your chart ruled by Sagittarius and Leo, because there's likely to be something opportune, even like a good work connection or a collaboration. Something that is going to allow you to shine and feel good is very, very likely on Thursday. Okay. Now, Friday, we're ending off this moon in Sagittarius transit. The moon is making a square to Neptune. The moon is making a square to the sun. Part of me thinks this is kind of like one final temptation of like, are we going to engage in past paradigms, past ways of living, past ways of thinking? Or are we going to move ahead? It's almost like Thursday is giving us a little sneak preview of this new life, of this new timeline. And then when we get to Friday, because we have almost this exact T-square between the moon, Neptune, the sun. The moon is also making that sextile to the south node and making a trine to the north node. So for me, it's like we want to obviously choose the future self, the higher self, what we're moving towards, what we've been working towards. There could also be this feeling of, great, I've now set in new boundaries, new structures, new identities. And this is going to be the time, like almost a crossroads. I'm like, if I'm not seeing the instant results, if this isn't working the way I wanted to, do I keep on moving and having faith that's working out in my favor, or fall back onto old paradigms? And if you happen to fall back, do not berate yourself. But this is just a very clear day, in my opinion, that there's that crossroads energy. And it might not even be super loud or super obvious. It could just be a way of thinking, a way of being, certain routines. If you're feeling overwhelmed, which could be a likelihood, especially with the end of Virgo season, this T-square, and the moon making a square to Neptune, take time for yourself. Take time to do absolutely nothing. You don't need to answer those emails. You don't need to get in your head. Taking time for yourself to emotionally regulate all that is going to be very, very wise on Friday. Friday is also a day where I wouldn't spend too much time on social media unless you absolutely have to. And it's also the end of Virgo season, which is also going to be the end of this opposition with Neptune as well. So stay calm, chill, relax. The weekend is also extremely productive, because when we get to the weekend, then we have the moon making a trine to Mercury and to Jupiter. So we also see a second grand Earth trine, and having the moon in aspect to Jupiter is beautiful. And then also having Mercury in such strong dignity, there's likely to be this constructive, productive, flowing energy available to you. This is all weekend as well. And of course, we now see the start of Libra season with the sun moving into Libra. So wishing all of our Libra angels a happy birthday, a happy solar return over the following weeks. And this is an opportunity for you to look at the Libra ruled part of your natal chart, because now we have the sun and Mars and the south node here. So there's going to be a lot shifting in that part of your chart over the next 30 days. To go and finalize the weekend as well, we also have the moon in aspect to Neptune and Saturn. And this is really evident also on Sunday when it's that exact conjunction to Pluto, making a trine to Uranus. So just know that there's likely to be very clear follow through, initiative, energy that is going to be presented over the weekend, especially in terms of just what you want to put your time and your work and your resources towards, given this is a lot of earth energy. And given that the moon and the sun are going to be in cardinal signs all weekend, cardinal is that initiatory, that beginning, that strike of a match. So there might be a lot of new beginnings that you're preparing for. You might even be like starting a new job, new relationships, new opportunities on Monday. So on the weekend, you're getting yourself prepared physically, mentally, spiritually for that new beginning. So just being aware that this weekend is very beautiful, very strong, very activated for these opportunities to come through. And one final reminder that Mercury-Jupiter exact trine will be happening on the 25th. So there could also be things you're getting ready for on Sunday, like a pitch or an interview or submitting yourself for like scholarships, grants. If you want to submit yourself to like an agent, a manager, preparing for that over the weekend and then doing that correspondence on Monday or doing it on Sunday, depending on how you feel, would be a very wise idea. Okay. Boom. So for the astrology question of the week, I was getting questions about when a planet is stationing. So when a planet is stationing retrograde, when a planet is stationing direct, what does that mean? And this is really evident, especially for the personal planets. So we have Mercury, Venus, Mars. And so we can look back to last week on Friday when Mercury was stationing direct. For me, that planet is not moving per se, right? So it'd almost be like if you were at the airport on a layover without Wi-Fi. You're not moving. You're not moving ahead to your next destination. Nothing is really happening and no one can really get a hold of you. So you're still obvious alive. You could probably go somewhere to get Wi-Fi to contact people if you needed it, but you're not at your fullest strength. There's not a lot you can do because you're waiting for the next flight to get to your next city. That's how I view when a planet is stationing. There's obviously still power. We can obviously still use it, but it's not at its greatest. And if I'm talking about Venus, for example, when Venus is stationing, either retrograde or direct, those are days where I would very much avoid changes to beauty, probably engaging in certain things with relationships, because we don't have Venus at its greatest strength. Same thing with Mercury in terms of being maybe prompt or diligent with communication or even initiating a conversation, or just in this case, with it being in Virgo, things being very organized or structured. I know for me on Friday, there was a lot of hiccups from my healthcare providers and certain things and certain appointments that were just kind of missed or were delayed, which is fine. One thing that was really funny that I noticed, I had a massage on Friday and my RMT is a Virgo, so organized, so structured, always ends the appointment with a, that's our time for today. Take your time, get up slowly. And I obviously cannot see the clock when I'm getting massaged and I kind of sometimes like zone out. And then he said, oh my gosh, my next client is coming in 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, I guess the massage is done. And I can tell that he was a little bit flustered, bless his Virgo heart. And I just thought it was so funny because he's always so organized. And of course, the day that Mercury stationed, it just happened to be the one time where he was like maybe not paying attention to the time or not as structured as he normally is. So you can also look back to Friday, specifically what was going on for you. If there was things that like just were broken in terms of communication, you didn't have access easily to certain people, that was a clear example of Mercury stationing direct. And moving forward for any station, I would personally avoid those for trying to do monumental things or trying to be highly productive. This one was interesting too when Mercury was stationing direct, because we were also coming with that Virgo new moon energy, with the sun making that opposition to Neptune. There was a lot of things that were just in the air and not meant to be grounded per se. So you can use that knowledge to your advantage moving forward, especially given that Mercury's retrograde happens rather frequently, to prepare yourself and maybe take those days off, or take days where you don't need to be as active or as focused as you need to be, to just relax and to let go. And relaxing and reevaluating are definitely key retrograde words. So knowing that there are certain times in the year where you can just give yourself a break and not having to be as active and plan accordingly is advantageous. And with that being said, the 2023 astrology guide is now on further sale. I think it ends up being like 75% off the way I priced it. So the discount is now there. And as I said before, the transits that are coming out throughout the year are really phenomenal. And it's also a good retrospective tool, given that you'll have access to the entire guide from January to December with all the goodies, as a way of just building your astrology knowledge and looking back at the transits, how that affected you, so you can continually build your knowledge moving forward. I'm actually currently now drafting and creating the 2024 astrology guide. So I think it's a beautiful resource. There's a lot there. I think having this knowledge is a beautiful, powerful resource in your day-to-day life. And for those of you that already have the 2023 astrology guide, let me know in the comments how you've used it, how it's benefited you, and what you're looking forward to this week, in the following months, and the following year. Okay, so that is our week. A lot to take in, a lot to be excited for. Like I said, it just feels like intuitively, when I'm tapping into this, like a lot of crossroads and a lot of doors being open. So you have the chance, you have the decision to pursue that higher self, your dream self, that new identity that you've been cultivating potentially your entire life, but especially over the past few months, and move forward with that. And if there are times where it's stressful or overwhelming, or you have anxiety, that is okay. Taking time to rest, unplugging, not being on screens, not being on social media is going to be of huge benefit this week. Always, but especially this week, okay? Have a fabulous, beautiful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.